What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Lou Reviews, the destination for critical thinking in the realm of the unexplained. I am your host, Luis Jimenez. Please don't forget to smack that like, share, subscribe button if you really love this show, like Greg O'Brien here. You can donate through Super Chat, or you can check out our Patreon. It goes a very long way. So thank you for that. On today's show, we're going to be breaking down Garry Nolan's witch hunt for Neil deGrasse Tysons PHDs, and we're also going to address, or at least look at, some stranger that really wants me to debate Ashton Forbes. It's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. So we'll talk about that a little bit. And yeah, that's what's on the agenda today. So before we get started, of course, I want to say hello to everyone. Greg O'Brien already said hello. Dana Shadell, welcome. Daniel Hurd, thank you for being here. I know sometimes I always miss Tina Tomaszewski, East Coast Tina. She's usually in the Discord chat, or not Discord chat, but that other thing chat. What is that other thing that I'm thinking of? I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. Hello, East Coast Tina. Hello, Heather Birdie. Hello, Timothy Brigham. Share the show. Tell everybody we're doing a show today. It was very last second. I was going to do it at 1. That's why the thumbnail says 1, but you know me. Oh no, the music. I accidentally muted the music. That sucks. Bummer. I thought that was jamming really well. All right. Anyway, I guess let's get started with today's show, shall we? All right. So the first thing, obviously, that we're going to discuss is Garry Nolan. Let's talk about Garry Nolan, shall we? Garry Nolan had a little bit, I don't know if it was a meltdown. I don't know. I don't want to classify this as a meltdown. This is clearly just his opinion. But it's a very direct opinion. It's a direct, call out of Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's not the first time he's done it, but I think it's the first time that he's done it to this level. It has set off an entire quandary of memes that we'll definitely get into one of them, because yeah, I got a little sneak peek before it dropped today from Cosmic Judas, which you guys can see. It's the second thing I've got bookmarked. So here's the original clip. So this is from James Fox, filmmaker James Fox. Dear astrophysicist Neil Tyson, Garry Nolan from Stanford University has a message just for you regarding your position on the UAP phenomenon, which is double entendre, I believe, because UAP phenomena, yeah, it's the UAP phenomena, the unidentified phenomenon. All right. So here's what Garry Nolan has to say to Neil deGrasse Tyson. And I love that Swint McCloud is like, oh, it's a meltdown. Let's see what you guys have to say. All right, here we go. Oh, wait, you guys can't hear it. Let me turn up the volume here. Apologies. There we go. Let's reset that. All right, here we go.
The Neil deGrasse Tysons of the world. Mm-hmm. He is a very public figure. He is considered mainstream scientific community. A lot of people respect and listen to what he says.
I don't think he should be respected because I don't think he's acting in the best interest of science. I think he's broken his oath of science, and that, you know, frankly, if there were a tribunal of could you take away somebody's PhD, Neil deGrasse Tyson's PhD should be removed. Oh. When's the last time he's been invited to give a science talk? When's the last experiment he's published?
Go on. Never.
He hasn't.
Never,
Why does
ever.
Listen to him?
Why does anyone listen to him? Look at him. Emobiates?
Sorry, Neil. He should be stripped of his PhD.
He should be stripped of his PhD. Can we listen to that one more time? Because he says something about a tribunal. Oh my God. If there was a tribunal against skeptics, Garry Nolan would be holding the gavel.
The Neil DeGrasse Tysons of the world. He is a very public figure. He is considered mainstream scientific community. A lot of people respect and listen to what he says.
I don't think he should be respected because I don't think he's acting.
I don't think he should be respected. Right out of the gate. Respect Neil deGrasse Tyson? No, thank you. That astrophysicist? No, I'm good. It sounds like he's a little jelly of Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know, he does a lot of media. He's got a big podcast. I mean, right out of the gate, I don't respect him.
I think he should be respected because I don't think he's acting in the best interest of science. I think he's broken his oath.
He's broken his oath. These kind of phrases sound familiar.
Science, and that, you know, frankly, if there were a tribunal.
Frankly, if there was a tribunal. This guy wants a tribunal. He wish he could have his tribunal. So he can send people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and me to our death because we do not agree with his theory that he was abducted as a little boy multiple times, and now that theory and that experience has bled into his cognitive thinking and rational explanation skills or detective skills, and he's completely gone off the deep end. He's saying schizophrenia could be a form of contacting them through his work that he's never written a paper on, by the way. Never once. It's wild, man. The way these guys speak, you know, like it sounds familiar to Ross Coulthart saying shit like, we should drag these guys behind a Humvee and stone them. When you say tribunal, the first thing I think of is unjust and unfair trials. I think of like medieval, like, we're having a tribunal. It's wild, man. It's wild, the language that a Stanford professor is using to knock the shit out of another scientist. He, I'm sure, hasn't reached out to him, hasn't spoken to him, hasn't interacted with him. He's just saying this. And I'll be honest, I hope this triggers a debate. I really do. I hope it does. I don't think it will. I mean, these are pretty harsh words. Who knows? Maybe Neil deGrasse Tyson gets a little wind of this and he gets a fire up his ass. I hope he does. I hope Neil deGrasse Tyson calls this shit out. I mean, that would be the best thing in the world. Because when he's in front of millionaire investors and when he's in front of James Fox, the aliens have been here for a long time. They've been here for forever. But then when you get them in front of real scientists or a real journalist, things like Jim's ball shavings, for some reason, don't come up anymore. So depending on which talking head is sitting in front of him, depends on what theory he's going to give you.
Of science, and that, you know, frankly, if there were a tribunal of could you take away somebody's PhD, Neil deGrasse Tyson's PhD should be removed.
Like I said, a tribunal. Like Galileo. Let's have a tribunal because he's saying that we revolve around the sun, not the other way around. Let's take away his ability to leave his house. Let's have a tribunal. Let's take away Neil deGrasse Tyson's PhDs, and I want to be the one that does it. Because he doesn't believe that I was abducted by aliens. And we'll see a clip that I made almost 2 years ago saying this about Garry Nolan. This is not the first time that he's done shit like this. And let's see what kind of scientific method Garry Nolan uses when it comes to figuring out if we're being visited by extraterrestrials, and what he says on a podcast, again, versus what he says in front of real media. And I do not count Ross Coulthart or News Nation as real media, as seen by the Hill, the Marieke von Klompenstick article today slamming Sean Kirkpatrick. It's like a big win for the UFO geeks. Oh, thank you, Marieke. That guy's a former intelligence officer or employee of some kind. That guy is not your friend. I promise you. Let's continue.
When's the last time he's been invited to give a science talk? When's the last experiment he's published? Never. He hasn't. Why is anybody listening to him? Don't ask me.
He's just the head of the Hayden Planetarium in the biggest city on the planet. I mean, I guess they just give that job to people who don't write papers or don't do science, right? Like, I guess and he's had that job for, I think, over 20 years at this point. I used to see him on the subway when I lived in New York City, and I knew who he was. It was like, I've seen him 3 times in my life, twice on the subway, once at the airport. And all 3 times, man, I wanted to go up and talk to him about UFOs. Of all things. Thank God I didn't. And now if I did, man, I think it'd be a much better conversation. I think I'd have a lot better questions for him. This guy.
He bloviates.
He bloviates.
Sorry, Neil. He should be stripped of his PhD.
The smugness and the condescension in which he's like, sorry, Neil. Like, why don't you hold a snifter in your hand and a fucking cigar while you say that? You know, and pet a white cat. Because you sound like a fucking Bond villain. Sorry, Neil. Sorry, not sorry. You should be stripped of all of your academic credentials. Because you don't believe that I was abducted by aliens, Neil.
Sorry, Neil. He should be stripped of his PhD.
Stripped. Like, when you say it like that, it's like it should be forcefully taken from him. And I think Cosmic Judas remakes this 51 seconds and actually stretches it out another 20 seconds in this clip here. And that sort of aggressive, just tone of this message is highlighted beautifully by my friend Cosmic Judas here. Let's listen to what he did with this clip.
Could you take away somebody's PhD? Neil deGrasse Tyson's PhD should be removed. When's the last time he's been invited to give a science talk? When's the last experiment he's published?
I mean, it fits.
Never.
It fits.
He hasn't. What?
Remember yesterday when I was saying truth in comedy and how that meme really struck a chord with a whole bunch of psychopaths? Because it's true. Because it's funny. Same exact thing here. And this is why I love the brilliance of Cosmic Judas. Because he gets it, man. He is able to highlight the absurdity of these people in a minute. The efficiency at which he highlights this is world class.
Why is anybody listening to him? Don't ask me. He bloviates. Sorry, Neil. He should be stripped of his PhD.
Neil deGrasse Tysons.
This of Roger Stone. That's what he's oozing right now is Roger Stone. Bless you, Cosmic Judas. That's exactly how I felt, but I just couldn't put my finger on it, and he nails it perfectly. this just oozing of gross. He wants Neil dead. Like, he is seething. I think it is a meltdown. As Swing McLeod said. Like, it's, oh man, it's so just icky.
Sorry, Neil. He should be stripped of his PhD.
Neil deGrasse Tyson needs to grow up. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is jealous. When's the last time any of these people have actually been anywhere near a laboratory or near a measurement device?
And here he is with Stephen Greer doing that good old lab work with Stephen Greer, the fucking biggest hoaxer of all time. Here we go. Stephen Greer, yay! Like, this is, you, like, but it doesn't end there. Oh, here's Garry Nolan with Hollywood psychic and fucking fraud Tyler Henry. Yay! Real science from Garry Nolan. You nail it, man. Stanford should be fucking I get it now. I get why they put your name on a building. I get it now. Like, because you think Tyler Henry and Stephen Greer are way, way better scientists and way more worthy to listen to and have a discussion with than a Neil deGrasse Tyson or a John Greenwald or a Stephen Greer or, excuse me, Stephen Greenstreet. Like, if you could talk to this fraud, why can't you talk to anybody else that'll ask you any real questions, sir? And why do you block anyone and everyone who dares question anything you say when it comes to UAP phenomenon, as James Fox so eloquently puts it? But it doesn't end there. Nope. Hey, the little mummies, more mummies. More mummies. And here we go. Garry Nolan, guilty. Count 1. Association with Stephen Greer, a notorious charlatan of the cosmos. Count 2. Association with Tyler Henry, a swindling Hollywood psychic. Count 3. Promoting a deformed dead child as though it were an extraterrestrial origin. Nolan will face life in skeptic penitentiary. Like, it's gold, man. It's pure gold. And that doesn't even, I mean, it doesn't even bring in the ball shavings from the LSD roadie. Like, it doesn't include, you know, like his investment pitch to Wall Street to, you know, fund his soul foundation. Oh, dude, just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. It's, yeah, that's ufology today, man. That's the guy that everybody's putting their eggs in the Garry Nolan basket. This guy right here, who's asking people to have their PhDs stripped because they don't believe in aliens, and has worked with the likes of Stephen Greer, Tyler Henry, Calling All Beings, Lou Elizondo, Christopher Mellon. All of these guys are the same. They're all the same. They all have stories and no evidence. All of them. So it's no shocker there. Oh, is fake Lou here? Oh, there he is. There's Lou Elizondo. I love that we've got a Lou Elizondo in our chats now. I mean, we all. Oh well, he changed the spelling of it. LUE now. He's spelling it the right way now. Maybe it is the real Lou Elizondo. Who knows? I mean, he's saying imposter. We'll see, man. Maybe one day we'll find out. Hey, Lou, you want to call into this show? I could put a link in and we could get Lou Elizondo to call in the show. We can ask him why about why he gave my text messages to Rob Heatherly and an online personality by the name of Richard Butt, aka Dick Butt. Interesting stuff. And by the way, I think I've heard grumblings and I've been hearing things behind the scenes. I think the identity of Dick Butt is coming. There's a lot of curious people about who that is, because if he's an active member of the military, oh boy, is he or she in trouble. I'm just, boy, oh boy, cannot wait to see what comes of that. At least I spelled my name right. Yeah, you got it right today. Yesterday it was L-O-U, if I'm not mistaken, you had, which is not the way you normally do Lou. You do L-U-E. I do L-U. So this fake Lou has never seen combat. I think I know who Lou Elizondo is, but I'm not gonna say. I think I know who he is, but I'm not gonna say. I mean, like, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about Garry Nolan and this whole fucking calling for the stripping of PhDs? And by the way, while we're doing that, and I'll look to the comments for what your guys' thoughts are. Let's quickly, I really wanted to just share with you guys the video that I made that's getting a lot of love today because it's aged like fine wine. Again, I made this little video. It's posted on the YouTube on my channel. But I made this almost 2 years ago. I made this in August of 2022. And this is an interview that Garry Nolan did with Calling All Beings. And I love to call this clip Nolan Science because here he describes exactly how he goes from hypothesis to conclusion when it comes to UAPs. And the thing is I don't know if he does this anywhere else in his work. I would think not, because I can't imagine you're going to get too many conclusions or solutions by doing science this way. But let's just hear it from Gary's mouth.
Here's how I think about it. I think it's sort of like an intelligence test.
Oh, yeah?
It's rife for ridicule, but if you are sufficiently observant and smart, you can jump to the conclusion of what it is without having to have all of the data that proves it.
I'm all ears.
And so I can know that something is true without being able to draw a mathematical or geometric line between A to Z. And so I think that's part of what's going on here.
Whatever's going on here, stop it immediately.
Do you know what is in front of you and what you're seeing?
No comments from
them. It draws
them.
you forward. I mean, it's very self-congratulatory, obviously.
Obviously.
Thinking that, we are the chosen, etc.
So to be clear, he thinks he's chosen. He was chosen to have the ability to see the aliens. And I guess the people on the panel of Calling All Beings also think that, because nobody was like, well, I don't feel like a chosen one. So you have to have a certain chemistry in your brain, schizophrenia, according to Garry Nolan, schizophrenia and learning disabilities are linked to, if I'm not, the way it was break down, and more DMT within the bloodstream, which could cause these hallucinations when it comes to schizophrenia. And maybe they're not hallucinations. They're actually like real science. Like we can actually, those are real entities that you're contacting when you have a schizophrenic episode. That's the theory. Okay, put it in a lab and let's test it. But you haven't done that yet. Okay, well, I'm waiting, Gary. I'm waiting for that paper. Waiting for your paper, because you're the one making claims. I don't know why Neil Tyson has to come out with papers. He's not the one saying aliens are visiting our planet and have abducted me. So why the fuck does he need papers for you? You're the one who should be providing the papers and the studies, right? And the lab work, because you're the one making the claims, pal.
Etc. And it's, it makes you similarly subject to ridicule. But I don't see it as that. I see it as people who are showing the way.
Oh, he's showing the way. This is my favorite part.
How about no?
How about no, Dr. Nolan? How about no, man? You're not special. You're not showing the way. You're not the chosen ones. You're a really smart guy who's fallen for some really stupid shit, or you're just pushing this on purpose for whatever reason, albeit trying to get money from the government for your soul foundation, or albeit you're just a believer, or albeit you're just a grifting jerk using your Stanford credentials to pitch Wall Street and lawmakers. Drink when I say lawmakers. That's 2 drinks if you're watching the show. I saw that tweet, by the way. Lou's book is going to be $19.99 at all good retailers. Oh my God. It's going to only be sold on the Liberation Times website, that UFO podcast website. And let's see, who else? Who else could we throw? Maybe Joe Mergia. Definitely Matt Ford. Matt Ford will definitely be selling that book. And Rob Heatherly, if he can figure out how to open a store. Let's maybe figure out how to clean our house first, and then we can open up online stores. Yes, drinking games. The Black Vault's here. What's up, John Greenwald? How you doing, man? You see the new rumor that people are starting about John Greenwald? How stupid was that? You know, because his dad worked on space shuttles. That means, and this stupid idea, of course, was put out by, you know, serial harasser and internet dickhead Kloss. He writes, I had no idea John Greenwald's dad spent 30 years working on black projects for Rocketdyne, a division of North American Aviation originally tasked by DoD to reverse engineer the V2. No way he'd help his teenage son set up a catch and kill operation for declassified documents. This guy has provided the most declassified documents to morons like you, and you turn his dad working on shuttles into a catch and kill operation for declassified documents. You have to be the dumbest fucking asshole in the history of man. Yeah. It's so stupid. But what sucks is John's dad passed away recently. Hasn't even been in the ground a year, and they're doing shit like this about his dad. There's no line. There's no limit. So that's why I say, fuck this guy. That's why I use the language that I do, and I speak the way I speak now. Because this is the shit they do every single day. Now imagine you have a loved one that has nothing to do with the UFO Twitterverse, and they find them and they take their pictures and make memes out of them. Memes that pop in your timeline. Like, it's not going to kill anybody, right? But fuck, man. Like, people are human. Like, you're taking their loved ones that have nothing to do with the argument that you guys are having, and you're including them in this argument just to spite them. Not because it's part of the argument, but just because that's the only thing you know how to do when you lost an argument. You know, that's why it's so fun. If you ever see anybody call me fat, like we had here in the chat a little earlier, it's because what I'm saying is pissing them off to a point where they have to go immediately to remedial 4th grade humor because their feelings and their belief system is lashing out like a fucking child. And it's, well, why don't you get on a treadmill? Or why don't you stop eating a sandwich? Oh, okay. What does that have to do with your crazy bullshit of aliens visiting Earth? Are you going to prove that, or are we just going to talk about me eating sandwiches all day? Which, I mean, that sounds like a lot of fun. I would dare anyone to say that they wouldn't want to eat sandwiches all day. I guess it depends on where the sandwich comes from. You know what's funny? Speaking of sandwiches, I ordered Jimmy John's a few weeks ago, and I think it might be the last time I ever order Postmates ever again. Ordered 2 subs, 2 sodas, and 2 chips. And it was almost $80. $80, man. It was insane. Absolutely insane. Greg O'Brien with a very ominous donation here of $6.66 says, trying to start a super chat train. Choo choo, Greg O'Brien. I'll be the conductor of that. Let's go. Super chat train. Or we could do a Patreon train. Go subscribe to Patreon for as little as $1 a month, man. You can help support the show. And trust me when I tell you, no matter what tier you pay for, you don't get any special access or any extra shit, which is really cool, you know, because it means you really love the show. So there's that. There you go. And you also get like a little animated GIF there. According to some, there are moon bases already on the moon, and disclosure will reveal this as we are just starting to build them, but in reality have been there, I guess, ever since the Apollo missions. Yeah, I don't think so, but John Greenwald, I guess, likes what I said. And I love John Greenwald. I love that he's here and he watches and he supports, man. Thanks, John. That means the world to me. Okay, so we have I think it's I can't tell by the I'm gonna go with 10, but I thought maybe it could be 18-year anniversary. I don't know. I didn't look at consciousness contact the consciousness contact fair or discussion, whatever the hell this is, but every single person in this contact expo is white, every single one. So I decided to make a funny meme with a box of all white crayons. And this is the consciousness contact box set, special edition box set. We've got the Dolan, the Nap, the How, the J. Christopher King color right here, and the black, which it's kind of that kind of, it's a little bit of a tricky one, but it's for Michael Ian Black. So, but just to be clear, it's still a white crayon. Man, Michael Ian Black. Woo! Oh, man. Man, oh, man. I can't believe you let them put your face on this poster. This is the most embarrassing thing I've ever seen Michael Ian Black do. Ever. Puxley, thank you for the $5 donation train. Choo choo. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Or Puxley, you look like a gentleman. But if you're a lady, I apologize. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I thought that was humorous. I thought that was fun today. I had put that one out there. Let's see here. I'm going to talk about that crazy guy in a second, but there was something else here I wanted to talk about. Oh wait, I think it's in my bookmarks. That's why. What was the other thing here? Ah, yes. Here we go. This is a clip from Project Unity. This is a guy who's admitted that Ross Coulthart was one of the people who chipped in to buy him a new laptop because he was too poor to afford his own laptop. So they chipped in and bought Jay a new one so he could still do his live streams. I'm not sure who else chipped in for that computer, but I know for sure Ross Coulthart was one of them. He's publicly admitted this. And it's not like that's not a nice gesture or, hey, look, I've been in rough spots where people have helped me out like that before. I totally understand. Like I've been there. So there's no judgment here as far as like, hey, friends pitching in to buy you something that maybe you lost because especially, if it wasn't your fault, a computer crashed or whatever. But the problem is that now every time Ross Coulthart or whoever else chipped into that computer, we don't know who else chipped into the computer. We don't know if you're giving them softball questions or not asking the right follow-ups because you don't want to push the buttons, not only to your access. Lord knows you don't want to lose that because every time Ross Coulthart or Tim Burchett comes on the show, it's a big draw, right? It's a big guest. But when they're buying you computers, I think that sort of pollutes your ability to have a non-bias in the questioning and the discussion that you're having. And it's clear as day that Jay from Project Unity is biased as hell. I mean, he's had his own experience. He talks about his orb experience. He thinks that's evidence that this stuff is real. I think he takes a lot of psychedelics, and those psychedelics could have worked their way into his experience. And that's just my theory. I don't know for sure. But I do know that whatever he did experience, it's not evidence. I'll just put it like that. It's not evidence. But it's obviously stuck with him, and it informs the things that he says on his pretty big platform at this point. So let's listen to this, because I found this insanely funny, and this was a clip. This was clipped by Skyfire News, and we'll get to them in a little bit again. And again, the source is Project Unity. I'm going to include the link for... Let's see. I'm going to include the link for his... Oh, that's not him. Oh, boy. Is it? It's because... it's called Project Unity, right? Yeah, there it is. There it is. Okay. So I'll go ahead and include his information in the link below. His link in the description below, I should say. Let me just get into the settings here so I can do that for you guys. All right, so it's in there now. And also, just, you know, because I know these guys get really sensitive about their stuff. Fair use. This is transformative work. We are educating the public on the videos that we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. So go kick rocks. And yeah, the first thing that's on this channel is that interview with Timberjet. But this clip I found interesting because, again, like the bliss they're snorting, like they're talking about themselves. Both of these guys are unknowingly talking about themselves. But let's listen to what they have to say.
You're right about one of your concerns that you highlighted, which is that you don't feel comfortable quickly sharing photographs or any kind of evidence that might be given to you, because disinformation, I think, is one of the real problems with this particular subject. I mean, it's been rife within this particular subject.
Disinformation is, because disinformation is one of the real problems with this particular subject. You mean like disinformation, like a craft so large it couldn't be moved, so the government that found it built a building around it? That was said on your show by Ross Coulthart. Still no evidence of that. He is literally gatekeeping the biggest secret on the planet. Again, you should drink every time I say this. A craft so big it couldn't be moved. An alien craft so big they could not move it after it crashed. So they employed an entire subdivision of construction workers from, I guess, all over the planet, and made them sign NDAs to build this building around the craft so large it could not be moved. It's amazing that you, of all people, are like...
quickly sharing photographs or any kind of evidence that might be given to you, because disinformation, I think, is one of the real problems with this particular subject. I mean, it's been rife within this particular subject.
It's been rife from your channel. You pushed the Wilson Davis notes, which Wilson has adamantly denied ever happened. The Admiral versus the guy who's incapable of lying, according to his buddies, from projects that have lied to the American taxpayer, like OSAP, ATIP, so on and so on and so on. So it comes from you, Jay.
For decades anyway, people polluting the waters, going to these UFO conferences,
You go to UFO conferences. You almost got into a fight with King Milkfart in front of one. Shady spooks. Like, I don't know. Ross Coulthard? Or Garry Nolan? The amount of ties that Garry Nolan has to the CIA is scary.
Shady spooks who give you a little whisper in the ear and send you going down a narrative that doesn't quite make sense. And I think...
Oh, but it does to you. It does to you, Jay. Like, it makes perfect sense to you because you will go on a soliloquy about it for hours on your show. And you'll present these really crazy conspiracies very eloquently. And that's, I think, the improvement of the snake oil salesman game. The UFO celebrity game is that they have a bigger vocabulary. So they can sound a lot smarter when they're giving you a spoonful of bullshit.
Thing right now, for people like yourself who are pushing at the front, that's a genuine risk. Do you feel like there may have already been attempts to get you to traffic in disinformation?
Oh, yeah. His whole public persona is disinformation, guy. His entire existence in front of the media is disinformation. Especially when he's talking about UAPs. And this idea of a LSD dropping hippie that calls his channel Project Unity and is all about getting in touch with humanity. You're having a conversation with a conservative lawmaker who thinks women don't have rights over their reproductive systems. Who writes laws based off passages in the Bible. Okay, Project Unity. Cool.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
And the trick is...
Yeah, 100%. People have tried to use me for disinformation. 100%. Again, just a friendly reminder, Tim Burchett has never sat and has never been part of any intelligence committee or subcommittee within the halls of Congress. This man does not have access to top secret classified files, information, or situations. He doesn't. But yeah, man, they've been hiding this stuff since 47, Roswell, New Mexico. Man, they talk about it in the Bible. Ezekiel, ever heard of it? I love that Southern drawl, though. It is fucking candy in my ear. I tell you, I could listen to him talk all day.
There's some of them that are doing it that are, in my opinion, don't know they're doing it. They're the most effective ones. They've been given false information and they've got a huge following and
they're the ones who've been given false information. The guy inside I guess I don't know, who is he referring to? That would have been a great follow-up from Jay, but of course we're not going to get that,
They're a fraud.
Who are you talking about?
Oh,
I'm
actually,
not
we did.
Say.
I think you and I both know who you're talking about.
So then say it.
Yeah, I got my suspicions. And I mean, because every time I do these things, I get a call from somebody and they say, oh, you need to have this person at your thing. I mean, they're believers.
Right. So is that Lou Elizondo? Is that Garry Nolan? Is that Jeremy Corbell? Is that George Knapp? Because those are the people that you're relying on information from, along with Tim Gallaudet, along with Brian Graves, who's been proven, not proven, he's admitted that he's never seen any of these things. They're the stories of his buddies that saw them. They're secondhand stories. And the radar, the circle, the squared sphere that he describes, that was a drone. Confirmed by the Department of Defense, drone. They're believers. You're a believer, buddy. And so is the person you're talking to. Both of you are two little believer peas in a pod. And then they say, I gotta correct myself. Jay did ask a question. Well, who was it? Who are you talking about? And I'm not gonna say. And then you follow up with, well, I think I know who you're talking about. So just fucking say it. You're not gonna get in any trouble. Who is it, Jay? Who's he talking about that's calling him and saying, watch out for this person, and the person that's calling him is a believer? I'm dying to know who that is.
And the person believes in themselves.
Yeah.
But it's a cottage industry too. You know that, and I know that.
It's a cottage industry. Yet he's calling Corbell brother. Well, I'm going to tell you what, brother. We can hang out anytime. You, me, and Nap.
You and I must be the only ones that hadn't made any money off this thing. It's to me, because I do all this stuff.
You're a public representative, guy. You're not supposed to make money off talking about UFOs. You've gotten a shit ton of Twitter followers and media attention for it. You're getting paid for this in one way or another. There's a currency that's being exchanged here, and it's influence, social media influence, and what you think is power. But none of that is going to garnish in the polls, man. None of that is going to show up in the polls, Tim. None of it. Because I promise you, the residents of Tennessee, most of them, if I started probably breaking down how much time you spend on this shit in your day, talking on podcasts, doing news hits, talking about just UFOs and not the needs of your constituency, it wouldn't shock me if you talk more about this shit than you do the needs of Tennesseans. Could be wrong, but the only time I see your ass on any sort of news, podcast, or social media is when you're talking about this, because you're one of the only idiots that is. And somehow you think that you're not the one being used to spread disinformation, and that you put believers in a different category. Like, clearly you think that you're thinking about this clearly. And all of these government waste programs that they're literally surrounding you. Americans for Safe Aerospace, the Soul Foundation, the Galileo Project, all of those guys call your office, have been in your office, have had conversations with you, and are petitioning you to get government dollars. And somehow your dumb ass doesn't realize it. I don't know how, man. It's amazing that your staffers are letting you say this shit and talk about this stuff. I'm shocked. Oh boy. Okay. Last thing I guess we could talk about was this little maniac that really wants me to debate Ashton Forbes. And I've gone over Ashton Forbes so many times on this show. We did a breakdown of why we think Ashton Forbes is 100% wrong on everything he's talking about. He's debated visual experts, special effects experts that have told him he's wrong. He's been on multiple podcasts that have told him he's wrong. He's had a cash reward to prove his theory right that nobody collected because it's a fake video. And this idea of debating him is just so stupid. He's already lost so many debates, and this like, why me? Like, I'm not the biggest voice out there. Like, my influence is almost zero. Why do you need to have a debate with me in public? Like, if your information's so fucking good, get a real news journalist to pick up your data, your excellent data. It's so good. It's all fact. That's why nobody's touching it with a 10-foot fucking pole, right? Nobody's writing scientific journals or papers on the work that you've done. So why the fuck would I debate you? It's not personal. I have a feeling I'd probably like Ashton Forbes, just like I would like a lot of people in this discussion. I honestly, if we take the UFO shit out of it, I think I would get along with almost everyone. It's not personal, but I just don't like that you're really digging your heels in on this bullshit. And every space you walk into on Twitter, you're like this, posing as like this voice of reason. You're posing as the voice of reason. The guy who's pushing an airline flight that got sucked into a portal that was either A, put there by our government, or put there by space aliens. The clouds on the footage don't move, which is indicative of a special effects trick. The effect that's used has been shown and found on a video game asset. It's bullshit. It's a waste of my fucking time and existence. But for some reason, this guy, Tracy Scott, is just he must have sent me 15 or 20 messages about this stupid debate. And I was like, look, I'll tell you what. And he keeps like tagging Skyfire News, like, you know, he's, what did he say? He had claimed that, okay, do on a debate, let's see here, like he cited Skyfire News as like some real news organization. They're not. They're not a news organization. There's not one journalist on the staff. And I don't think anyone would take offense on the Skyfire News staff, whoever that is. I'd love to know who's on that staff. It'd be nice to know. It seems like Red Panda and Chupacabra are definitely on the staff, and Keemstar. As far as I can tell, that's all I know who's on that staff. But they are not a news outlet. Let's be 100% clear about that. What they're really good at is following the UFO happenings of the day, especially on social media. They clip them, they share them, they aggregate them, and they put questions to them to get interactions and clicks. It's not news. Like, it's not any sort of investigative journalism whatsoever. It's just reporting shit that's happened. Like, it's TMZ. It's a news sharing entity. They are not news. So this idea that holding a debate on Skyfire News platform is somehow elevating or solidifying this as some sort of legitimate debate. Like, it's not that. Look, they've got a guy, Keemstar's followed me. I followed him back. He's got over 2 million subs. He's trying to do something with this conversation that I tried. I tried this, and I'm telling you right now, this community doesn't want what you're selling. They just don't want. They say they want it. They prophesize about how they want it, but when you actually put it in front of them, they don't. They eat themselves. It's a community, it's a subculture that eats itself. They eat their young. And you're the young right now. And they are throwing every dart they can at you guys. And I think you guys are actually deflecting a lot of that shit really well. Because you don't get 2.5 million subscribers without putting up with some trolls. And so the thing I love the best about Skyfire News is that they've got, with Keemstar, they've got the social juice, the social media juice to put people like UAP Mike, King Milkfart, Sawan, all of these little maniacs within the community. He's able to call them out immediately and say, hey, listen, I could show up to your plumbing business, King Milfart, that your mommy owns, and we can have a debate right there. We can film it. We can talk about it. And then I'll post it. And then let's let the people decide. And then all of a sudden the excuses from King Milkfart start coming about why he can't do it. The number one reason being he doesn't want Keemstar to profit off the interview. He's a fucking social media creator. He's a YouTube creator. What would be the point of him spending all that money to go do an interview with you to post online and not get any revenue from it? He's buying the plane tickets. He's making it as easy as possible for you. He's coming to you. Like the plane tickets, hotel, rental cars, the camera crew, like $10,000 at the very least it would cost that guy to go sit in front of you, King Milkfart, and you're telling him, well, I'm not doing the interview unless you turn off your monetization. If I was Keemstar, I would have been like, okay, yeah, we'll do that, done the interview, and then put it up and turn the monetization off, because he's a fucking idiot. He can't sue or do shit to you anyway. So maybe think about doing that, Keemstar. So that's what I really like about Skyfire News, okay, is that they've got a voice there that genuinely could call out the bullshit when he sees it. My only concern is that the two people that are helping run this have a bias, a very deep bias, especially Red Panda. Like, I mean, it is insane how much you are putting your eggs in the Ashton Forbes basket. It's so just strange to me, but more than anything, it shows me how poor of an investigator you are into facts. And when facts present themselves, how poor you are at accepting those facts. And again, that's not personal. I'm not trying to fucking slam dunk on Red Panda. That's not what this is. That's just my observation. And so when they put out, you know, like the other day, you guys put out something that was just so stupid. You know, like, is the moon shrinking? I don't know. Is the moon shrinking? I didn't read the article, so I don't want to pick on that one. But I don't know. How does the moon shrink? Anyway, there was something here, you know, like you're sharing Chris Bledsoe and his propaganda bullshit, and you only label it as Chris Bledsoe discusses his UFO sightings on Fox News. As if this is true, with a little UFO and a big, you know, like, you know, bullhorn, like this is important. You guys should pay attention to this. Why? Chris Bledsoe is an RC hobbyist with hundreds of RC planes in his garage. All of these lights that he produces, he only sees them. Gee, I wonder why. All of his kids are into the RC hobby. All of them. It's not out of the realm of possibility that these guys are just making light shows and recording them with drones. It's so stupid, man. Like, it's like Jacques Vallée. Jacques Vallée is not a hero of the UFO community. He's a liar. And he's been proven to be pushing false narratives in the newest book that he was a part of, The Trinity Case, which has been proven by D. Dean Johnson extensively to be bullshit. And the worst part is he knew it was bullshit, Jacques Vallée, and he wrote the book and co-signed off on it anyway. Because fuck him. Got to get that money, baby. Got to sell them books, baby. The amount of... I wish Steven Spielberg never based that character off Jacques Vallée in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Because I think that movie gave him so much, again, juice to just do whatever he wants and say whatever he wants and write a whole bunch of books and put out a whole bunch of bullshit theories and grift for the last 50 years almost on this fucking topic. He's never going to retire. In 50 years, this guy has not been able to produce one shred of evidence, not one. And he is like the Pope of ufology, this guy. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. So, you know, I would say going forward, if you want me to consider you a news outlet, report both sides of these assholes. You know, Like Corbell calls Kirkpatrick UFO article nonsense. We're just putting this out there. Who cares you guys decide. you guys decide. Well, no information, just this tweet. You guys decide who's right. Bada boom. Like Danny Sheehan's bullshit. Like, it's just, I think you guys are doing more damage than you realize. I really do. And I think you should hold these guys' feet to the fire. I'd like to see somebody with that much social media influence actually use it for something good. Use it to hold these motherfuckers' feet to the fire. Like, this is a great moment right here, right? When you had Chris and Few, like, it's not like you guys are void of good moments. You are. You have them. They're there. I feel like you're this close, but I really am turned off by the bias of the network. Because it's not news. And yeah, the fact that you put news in the name of your company, it's a little deceiving. It's not news. There's no journalism going into it. It's just, here's the information, you decide. You decide. So, that's sort of my issues. Other than that, for the most part, pretty nice guys. They've been nice to me. I've been in their spaces and it's been cordial. And they do host pretty decent spaces. I think 7 hours is way too long. 4 hours, 5 hours. Like, I don't understand why a space needs to be that long. It's just crazy to me. To me, that just feels more like a cult meeting than it does a free flow of ideas. I've been, the last, and it wasn't run by Skyfire News. I think it was run by this guy, Sean, and I don't really know him. But, this last sort of space that people were in, it was like, it divulged into the worst part of humanity, a lot of cases, and it mostly would come from guys like King Milkfart and UAP Mike and Stand for Better and the other Fettuccine Split, whatever the fuck that guy's name is. All these Twitter maniacs and personalities that just all they can do is insult because they can't argue on any sort of intellectual level. So anyway, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about. For the most part, I just wanted to talk about, all of the madness from Garry Nolan and sort of the stuff that people have been asking me to do today. It's been wild, man. And I forgot also Mick West debated Ashton Forbes and also, made him look like an idiot. But again, I guess you could take that personally because I just said you made you look like an idiot, but whatever, man. I'm sure Ashton Forbes and I at some point will be in a Twitter space, and I think I could completely end his entire thing in 1 minute, less than a minute. And it's just simply asking him, where did the videos come from? Where were they posted? Where did you get them from? And I'd love to hear the answer to that question because it's an Anon account. I already know the answer to the question. It's an Anon account. An Anon account that made a bunch of fake UFO videos, and for some reason, that one stuck, and Ashton Forbes thinks it's real. It's crazy. And again, like, we did a whole episode talking about this. You can find it in the live shows here. So just search Ashton Forbes and you should find that episode if you want to get my opinion on the whole MH370 thing. Other than that, I think I'm done. What does this say here, Moondust? The bullshit is real in ufology. I agree. Lou may have borrowed my branding assets. Oh man, let's see what you guys are saying. Renee Cruz says 1978, 12 years old, saw black metallic octagon, UFO starcraft, mind-boggling. It was flabbergasted. And later that night, a shooting star spellbinding. I was mystified. Ah, geez, say Pickle Rick Morty. I love Pickle Rick Morty. Here's the thing, Renee, is that I had a sighting at 13, but it's just not evidence, man. Like, it's not, I can't put that in a lab. We need more than that. It's not that it's not interesting or that it's not a data point. It's just not evidence. So, that's the only the only thing to me. Simon Fly says Skyfire just looks like clickbait to me. King Milkfart Harassment Archive, which I'm pretty sure is Red Panda, and he says, I like Skyfire News. That's a quote from Moran Lerner. Let's see here. Corbell's too busy slamming it to nap at night. Oh my goodness, dude. I don't know. Bringing a 2 million strong new demographic into the conversation is thinking a lot about people would be thrilled about it. I mean, like, the only thing that concerns me is, let's say 10% of that 2.5 million following come into the UFO field. How many of them do you think are going to get lost in the rabbit holes that all of these people that we criticize and mock are, those same rabbit holes, they're going to go down the same ones. I think a majority are going to go down a conspiracy rabbit hole rather than a logical rabbit hole. There's a lot less voices spouting logic than there is conspiracy. Conspiracy is way more fun. It's sexier. It sells better. And that's just fact. And I've proven that over and over and over again by showing you guys my financial numbers when I was really popular versus when I'm really not. And that all had to do with changing my process of thinking when it comes to UFOs and UAP. So it's the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Let's see here. Shout out, big ups, high fives, UFO world community, woo woo. That's what I do love about Renee. She's super positive, so I appreciate it and very supportive. So thanks for being here, Renee. Heather Birdie says some people are just butthurt because their news account idea never took off. I mean, I would say hold on. Like the numbers that at least they're claiming behind the scenes, the interaction that they're getting, the traffic that they're getting, the clicks, the eyeballs that they're getting. I don't think it's transferring yet to subscriptions, but with the right formula and the right access and the perfect and a little bit of money, maybe, who knows? It could take off, and maybe I'm wrong. Like I've always thought that you can make a news network out of reporting on this stuff. You can make it 24/7 because there's always shit happening in this discussion. But yeah, I just don't know if I'd put the word news in the name of the company because it's just aggregating all of the happenings. It's TMZ. It's a gossip. Because this whole topic is gossip. The whole topic is hearsay. It's trust me, bros. It's secondhand stories. It's I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy. So there's no news here. there's no facts. So to call yourself an entity that looks at a topic with zero facts, I don't know. It's again just something I wouldn't do. But hey, like I said, I could be proven wrong. We'll see what happens. So yeah, guys, that's the show. That is the show. I appreciate everyone being here. That's right. And everybody seems to be loving this track. So I think this is the official opening closing music to the show. I love this track. Goose and Lime by Ghost Beats. I'm a dope boy, ba ba boo ba bee ba, yeah. Oh, you know what? I have to address this just because I'm kind of sick of getting your comments. The Out There channel, like, dude, you are something else, man. This guy, shit audio, echo chamber, literally LOL. Fucking just call him Scambian, it's easier. Like Mick, Cambian uses other people's findings. Dude, have you watched your own channel? Let's take a look real quick. And I know this channel's been around for a long time. It's got 1.4 thousand videos. Okay, he's done 1.4 thousand videos. Almost as many videos as he has subs. Okay, and you're doing 5.5 hour shows, 4 hour shows, 2.5, 4, 3.5, 5.5 hour shows where you don't show your face and it's just a stream of bullshit. Maybe it's good information. I have no idea, but you have the most boring show I've ever watched. I've tried watching a couple episodes, as you can see here, but if you go back, especially, there's live shows that I've watched, but you have to go back a pretty long while for me to find the videos that I watched. There's one. A year ago, I watched it. I watched the whole thing, a 5-hour video. So I know your channel, okay? And for you to sit here and you know, comment on my audio and my show like you're some fucking producer's professional, like, go kick rocks, man. Thanks for watching the show, but seriously, fuck off. Like, I don't need your bullshit, you know? Like, stay in your lane, pal. You know, like, talk to me. Like, you put out a 5.5 hour video 2 days ago and it's got 54 views. Maybe hold the fucking criticism of other people's channels to yourself, you know? Like, anyway, don't mean to pudge down, but I just had to say something because that's like easily the 10th time you've commented on my videos about my audio and shit. Like, hey man, I'm not an audio expert. I'm doing this shit by the seat of my pants, buddy. So sometimes the audio gets fucked, sometimes the stream crashes, sometimes things double. But we fix them. We get better with every show. No one's perfect here at Lou Reviews. Let's make that clear. All right, y'all. That was a fun show. Thanks for hanging out with me. Before we get out of here, of course, I want to remind you guys, smack that like, share, subscribe button. If you really, 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 really love the show, hit up the Patreon link in the description below. It really helps out. It goes a very long way. Thank you guys, Greg O'Brien and the other person who sent a super chat. Sorry, I'm forgetting your name. I feel so bad. I don't mean to forget your name. Sorry. And I can't find it in the thing. It doesn't go back that far, so I'm sorry. Second person who donated money. Thank you. I love you guys all. And remember, okay, just remember, the link is in the description. But yeah, thank you once again for embarking on this journey of discovery together. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and thank you for subscribing to Lou Reviews. Hit that bell, guys, so that way when we go live, you're notified. Other than that, have a great rest of your week. Share the show. I love you all. I probably won't be on for a few days because I've got a show tomorrow at the UCB. So if you're in LA, you want to come watch a show, DM me. And I'll send you a link for some tickets. Other than that, have a killer night, y'all. Peace. And again, thank you to all my fans out there. You know who you are. Simon Fly, Eventide, Wise Monkey, Pat Calabria, East Coast Tina. I love you, lady. Thank you for being here. Beverly Holmes, newcomers, Moondust, oldcomer, Swink McLeod, oldcomer. Oh boy. That went south real quick. Screen name, thank you for being here. Kyle Ferreter. It's not good information. What's not? Yeah, Lou, 2 nights in a row and boom, and you can feel the tide turning. I think you're right, Wise Monkey. I think the tide is turning in our direction, man. So thanks to you guys. I love you all. Peace out. Don't want to forget you, Lord Ludacris. Love you, man. Thanks for being here. what I say, Jason Parker.